Good morning everyone. The events of the film start with a beautiful girl named Nina who was packing her stuff because she was going to move to another house, and it seems that she was holding a picture of herself with her father when she was young, and it is clear that the picture was taken during a car race. Nina leaves the picture and tries to leave but comes back to take the picture with her. On the way, Nina speaks with her mother, and we understand through their conversation that Nina will live in the house of her stepfather, who is a rich man who saved Nina's mother from poverty after her divorce from her ex-husband, who was just a drunk and raping man. Nina is not satisfied to move to a new city because she doesn't want to get away from her friends and her lover. Nina arrives at her father-in-law's mansion, Emmanuel, who greets his wife and welcomes Nina, who doesn't care about him, then enters the luxurious mansion and fully realizes that her mother has become rich and luxurious thanks to Emmanuel. Nina's mother takes her daughter to a room overlooking the sea and tells her that she has the right to live at home like her son-in-law, Nicholas. Nina's mother leaves the room and Nina starts looking at her photo with her father again and seems to be very affected by the photo. Then she heads to the balcony of the room and sees Nicholas by chance, and suddenly Nina gets a phone call from her friend who tells her that she is lucky that her mother has married a rich man and will get half her fortune and will not stay poor, but Nina tells her that she does not like the life of the spoiled rich. Nicholas appears suddenly, and remember, viewers, that Nicholas is Nina's son-in-law, that is, he is considered Nina's illegitimate brother. Nicholas orders his ferocious dog to scare Nina and then asks him to remain calm, and Nina gets angry with him and enters his room, and in the evening, Nina goes with his mother, Emmanuel, and his son to an ordinary family dinner. In the car, Nina looks at her photos and those of her lover and then sends her a message asking him to call him when he receives his message. Nicholas passes Nina in his car and looks at her with a glamorous and admirable look, and after arriving at the restaurant, family members sit around the dinner table and talk to each other. Emmanuel says that Nicholas is one of the most qualified surfers in the country. He is a young man who studies law successfully and has a good future. But Nina answers his father-in-law by saying that the spoiled Nicholas can work in his rich father's business even if he is a failure. Then she decides to leave and Emmanuel asks his son Nicholas to bring her home. Nicholas drives the car quickly and professionally, but Nina is scared and criticizes her driving and calls her arrogant and reckless, but Nicholas laughs at her and tells her that it is clear that her mother tolerates her actions because she loves her only. But Nina responds by saying that he knows nothing about the mother's love. Nicholas is annoyed by Nina's words when she talks about the mother, then stops halfway and asks Nina to get out of the car and then leaves. Nina is particularly shocked that the battery on her phone is empty, and fortunately, Nicholas's friend arrives on time and takes Nina with him in his car to a party where rich young people like Nicholas are present. Nina comes to the party with Nicholas's friend, points her hand at Nicholas, and Nina seems to be jealous and angry when she sees that Nicholas is surrounded by many girls who love him, but Nicholas notices his presence and asks him how she got to the party, but she replies by saying that she will tell her father that he stays awake at parties of the wrong kind. Nicholas warns Nina and asks her to stray from her path and leaves, and after that, a girl suggests to Nina to accompany her to the party and introduces herself saying that her name is Gina. Nicholas's friend asks her questions about Nina and Nicholas replies saying that she is her illegitimate sister. Nina starts drinking wine and Ronnie looks at Nicholas with a devilish look. Nicholas notices that Nina is drunk and then decides to take her home in her car, and after they arrive home, Nicholas carries Nina unconscious and takes her to bed and then leaves. Nina dreams of childhood memories with her mother, who was trying to hide Nina in the closet before her father beat her. The next morning, Nina sits with Gina at the beach and she notices Nicholas coming for a surfing hobby, and it seems that all the girls want to talk to him because he is the richest person in the square. Nicholas will surf the waves of the sea, and Nina looks at him with strange looks. At night, Nicholas participates in a car race for the rich and Ronnie challenges him, and the first race takes place between a runner of Ronnie's team and Nicholas, who sees Nina coming from afar and is so impressed by her beauty that he is late for the start of the race, but tries to use his skills to catch up with his rival, but he looks again at Nina and is visibly jealous of the young man who approaches her. Nina stands with Gina and Leon watching the race from afar, and at the last corner of the race, Nicholas's rival car breaks down and it seems Nicholas managed to win the race and everyone celebrates her victory. Nina sees pictures in which her lover seems to cheat her with her best friend and then she gets very angry and starts drinking and dancing. Nicholas notices that Nina dances with another young man and feels angry and jealous. Then he goes to her and yells at Nina, asking him to respect him because he considers his brother and does not accept to see her in immoral situations. But Nina responds by saying that she allowed the young man to approach him in order to take pictures with him and send them to his lover who betrayed him to take revenge on him. Nicholas takes advantage of the opportunity and suggests that Nina send her photo with him to her lover instead of the other guy, and Nina accepts her proposal, although she is surprised by her actions with her, and after that, Nicholas asks Nina to stay in the race car and wait for Gina to arrive, but Nina seems impressed by the car and sits on the driver's seat. Ronnie parks her car next to the red car Nina is riding in and thinks it's her rival who belongs to Nicholas' team, but Nina is surprised and tells her she's just an ordinary girl. Ronnie lies to her saying that Nicholas will lose the bet and can lose his red car if she doesn't participate in the race now. Ronnie taunts Nina and tells her that she will be allowed to advance in the race for 5 seconds, and the race girl gets the start shot of the race, but everyone, including Nicholas, is surprised because the race cars do not move. Ronnie asks Nina to take advantage of the opportunity of 5 seconds, and indeed, Nina prepares to move and assures Ronnie that he will be defeated in front of a beautiful and professional girl. Through the events of the race, it becomes clear that Nina is a professional motor racing and that her level is very high, and the proof that she is a professional motor racing girl is the appearance of her photo with her father in the motor racing at the beginning of the events of the film. Ronnie is scared and begins to rub Nina's car to force her to withdraw from the race, but Nina stands up to him and the evil defeat. Nina gets out of the car and everyone celebrates his victory, but Nicholas gets angry with her because he lost the race because of her, and Ronnie asks her to give her his car keys because he is supposed to be his rival from the start and not Nina. Nicholas is obliged to give his car keys to Ronnie, who curses Nina because he feels offended for losing against her. Nicholas fights violently with Ronnie to defend Nina, who collapses and is terrified because she remembers painful childhood memories when her father beat her mother. Gina takes Nina to the car and Nicholas also gets in the car with her friend, then they run away from the place. The next morning, Nina wakes up from sleep and is surprised by the arrival of a letter from a cursing stranger and asks Gina to see the letter, and meanwhile, Nicholas was sleeping on the beach and Nina's mother tries to get her husband Emmanuel's opinion on a dress she would like to wear on a special occasion, then asks her why he helped her. Emmanuel answers Nina's mother by saying that he fell in love with her from the first look and decided to marry her without thinking of saving her from poverty. We come back to Nicholas, who is sitting with his little sister Maggie, who is considered his sister of his mother, divorced from her father and married to another man. Nicholas is the one who cares for her little sister because she is diabetic. At night, Nicholas comes home and looks with Nina at a car action scene in an Indian movie and tells her that the car turns in the Indian movie seem impossible and difficult to apply, but Nina tells her that making these moves is very easy and tries to explain to her how to apply them. Nina asks Nicholas where he has spent all day, and Nicholas replies saying he has spent his day with someone he cares about, and he talks about his little sister Maggie, but Nina doesn't know he's talking about his little sister, and the next morning Nina was washing the car, but she is surprised when she sees her ex accompanied by her mother. It is clear that Nina's mother has been wary of a relationship between her daughter Nina and Nicholas, and it seems that she is considering reviving Nina's relationship with her ex-lover because she considers Nicholas just Nina's brother and tries to avoid the development of their relationship. Nina quickly goes to Nicholas and asks him to help him because she sent his photo with him to his ex-lover and she doesn't want him to see her because she could be exposed to a scandal, especially since Nicholas is considered his brother. Nina's ex-boyfriend tries to talk to him but Nina continues to ignore him and Nicholas tries to tease him without showing his face. Nina goes to speak with Nicholas, but he laughs at her and drags her into the pool, and after she gets out of the pool, Nina takes a bouquet of roses from her mother and notices a card in which it is written that Nina will pay for her actions, and then asks her ex-lover for the threats addressed to her on the card, but he assures her that he knows nothing about the bouquet of roses and the threats on the card. In another scene, we see an unknown person talking to Ronnie who was beaten by Nina in the car race, and the next morning, the family members have lunch together and Nina receives another threatening letter and she does not yet know the identity of the person who is threatening her. After breakfast, Nina goes with Nicholas and her friends in the car and Mario asks Nina how she learned to drive professionally, but the girl sitting in the back intervenes and says that Nina learned to drive with the help of her father, who was famous in car racing. Mario asks Nina where her father is, but she just says that he left. Nicholas arrives at the point where he is fighting a street fight and it seems that Nina was afraid of him, but Nicholas asks him not to worry about him because he loves street fighting and the reason is that he takes out his anger in the fight and then enters the ring and starts fighting ferociously with his rival until he can beat him easily. Nina can't bear to watch the violent fight because she's been complicated from a young age because of her abusive father, and Mario tries to get closer to her and relieve her pain, but Nicholas beats him and tries to get him away from Nina, who asks Nicholas to stay away from her because she's afraid of him because she doesn't like rapists like him and like her father who dealt cruelly with her. After several days, we see Nicholas running at sea and trying to become a better person than before and also trying to find peace in him because of his love for Nina, although he doesn't believe he fell in love with the girl who is almost like his sister, and one day, Emmanuel tells Nicholas that he must find information about Nina. Her father Nicholas says that Nina's real father tried to eliminate Nina when she was young because he is considered one of the people who rely on violence to solve problems, and also says that he is still alive because he went to prison because of Nina's testimony against him but was released only 2 weeks ago. Emmanuel presents his son with the file because Nicholas studies law and tells him that Nina's father is a dangerous man and should go back to prison. At night, the stranger who showed up with Ronnie earlier is sitting in her car in front of a house and Nina is inside because she was having a party with her friends, and after a while Nina comes out drunk with her friends and Nicholas comes to pick her up, but Nina comes home because she forgot her jacket. Nicholas' girlfriend tries to joke with Nina and locks the closet on Nina, who gets into hysteria and feels very scared and remembers the day her father found her in the safe and scared her very much. Nicholas arrives in time and saves Nina and then brings her home. Nicholas stays by Nina's side all night because she started to get scared recently, and the stranger is Nicholas, sleeping next to her in the same bed, and suddenly, Emmanuel sees her son sleeping in Nina's room and fully realizes that Nicholas has a strong relationship with his daughter-in-law. The next morning, Nicholas visits his little sister Maggie at the hospital with Nina, who notices that Nicholas is a nice person and discovers that he was involved in street fighting to save for his little sister's treatment costs, because his rich father refuses to cover his treatment costs. At night, Nicholas and Nina leave the hospital and spend a romantic evening in an atmosphere of love and passion at the beach and confess their love, and on the way home, Nicholas stops to buy things. Ronnie appears suddenly and kidnaps Nina and quickly leaves the scene, and Nicholas goes out and doesn't find her, then goes home and tells his father and Nina's mother what happened, and the investigator finds out through surveillance cameras that Nina's kidnapper is Ronnie, then starts investigating, and in the meantime, Nina's real father appears, and it seems he's the one who ordered his men to kidnap Nina. Nina's real father calls Nina's mother and tries to provoke her and tells her that Nina is with him and asks her for a ransom of $1 million in exchange for the release of her daughter Nina, and indeed, Emmanuel and Nina's mother go to the place where the ransom amount will be handed over to her ex-husband. Nina's mother is sure that Nina's real father won't come because he doesn't want money, and what interests him is to take advantage of scaring him, insulting him and scaring his daughter Nina, and indeed, Nina's mother's words are true because Nina's real father is looking at her from the tablet. Meanwhile, Nicholas is in the car with the detective and tells him about Ronnie and tells him that Ronnie took his red car from him and remembers that the car contains a tracking device and so they can locate him. But Nina's father discovers the plan and decides to escape, and Nicholas tries to catch up with him, and then there is a Hollywood chase between them. Nina's father forced Nina to drive the car in order to shoot Nicholas and the detective, and the chase continues until they reach a dead end, but Nina's father raises the gun at her and asks her to hit Nicholas' car, which looks at Nina and tries to talk to her via telepathy and deep looks, and Nina understands exactly what he wants from her. The two advance the car, then try to apply the rotational movements that Nina saw with Nicholas in the Indian movie. Nina lowers her head and the detective shoots at Nina's real father, and the plan succeeds very cleverly. Nina's mother is relieved when she sees that her ex-husband's life is over. Nina's mother kisses her daughter and Emmanuel kisses Nicholas in an exciting scene for Nicholas and Nina because it seems they love each other with a love that has nothing to do with brotherhood, and at the end of the film, Nina's mother asks Emmanuel for a divorce so that Nina can marry Nicholas, who changed for love after being a violent young man.